Hello dear students, welcome back to Biovidyalaya. I hope you all are doing very well. Today in this lecture video we are going to discuss about the difference between agonist and antagonist. I took this topic from cell signaling of CSIR net syllabus. We know that in signal transduction pathway, first ligand molecule will come and that will bind with the receptor and that will make some conformational changes to receptor molecule and then it will lead to intracellular signal transduction pathway like the activation of secondary messenger and then it will lead to gene activation and cellular response. But in some time, some another molecule that is structurally similar to the ligand molecule can also bind with this receptor and some molecule that will act like the ligand molecule and that will lead to the cellular response. While some another molecule that can inhibit the cellular response, that can act like an inhibitor. So, based on that, there are two types of structural analog, agonist and antagonist. So, let's see about that. So, first we can discuss about agonist. Agonists are structural analog of cell signaling molecule that are structurally similar to the normal ligand molecule. They are structural analog. So, structural analog which mimics the function of signaling molecule by binding to its receptor and causing the normal response are called agonist. So, agonists are structurally similar to the ligand molecule. They are structural analog of the natural ligand molecule and that will bind to the receptor and causing normal response. Okay, so here you can see that this is an agonist, this blue color one. It is binding to the receptor. This green color one is receptor and that will cause some conformation changes for the receptor. That means the activation of the receptor and then it will lead to intracellular signaling pathway and finally the gene expression and cellular response. So agonist that will activate the receptor. Okay, so that will cause the same action, same cellular response as the substance that normally bind to the receptor. Okay. So structural analog which mimic the function of a signaling molecule by binding to its receptor and causing the normal response are called agonist. Okay. Isoproterenol acts as an agonist to epinephrine. We know that epinephrine is produced by adrenal glands. Okay. And this epinephrine that will make our body ready for the short-term emergencies. Epinephrine. It is also known as adrenaline. And it is produced by adrenal gland when we become nervous. Okay. So when we become nervous, what will happen? This adrenal gland will produce epinephrine and this epinephrine will bind to its receptor. Here you can see that in this picture you can see that this blue color one is epinephrine that is binding to its receptor, beta adrenergic receptor, and that will leads to the intracellular pathway like activation of secondary messenger cyclic AMP, and finally it will lead to gene activation and cellular response like increased heart rate, dilation of skeletal muscle blood vessel, breakdown of glycogen to glucose. These are the normal cellular response that is happening when epinephrine is binding to its receptor. And this isoproterenol is an agonist of epinephrine, that is structural analog of epinephrine, that is acting like epinephrine. So when this isoproterenol that is binding to this epinephrine receptor, that means beta adrenergic receptor, and then it will lead to the same intracellular pathway, and finally it will lead to the cellular response like increased heart rate, dilation of skeletal muscle, blood vessel, etc. So this isoproterenol is an agonist of epinephrine that is used for the treatment of heart attack, cardiac arrest, shock, etc. Okay. So this is a structural analog. This isoproterenol is a structural analog of epinephrine that is an agonist of epinephrine, that is acting like epinephrine. Okay. So agonists are structural analog which mimics the function of normal signaling molecule or normal ligand molecule by binding to its receptor and causing normal cellular response. Okay. Next is antagonist. Antagonists are structural analog which bind to the receptor and inhibiting its activation. So antagonists are opposite to that of agonist. It is inhibiting the activation of the receptor. You have to remember that antagonist is structural analog to the natural ligand, so it can bind to the same site in which the natural ligand is binding, or it can bind to the different site in the receptor, but its function is to inhibiting the activation of the receptor. If receptor activation is not occurring, means the cellular response will not occur. Okay, that will inhibiting normal signaling pathway. So antagonist is an inhibitor. It is an inhibitor. Okay, so it is an inhibitor of natural signaling pathway. Okay, see this picture here. You can see that this purple color one is antagonist. It is binding to the receptor. This is receptor, and so here it is inhibiting uh, or it is inhibiting the receptor activation. So normal cellular signaling pathway will not occur. Okay. So antagonist is an inhibitor of receptor. Okay. Or we can say that it is a blocker of receptor. Alpranol acts as an antagonist to epinephrine. We know that when we become nervous or during exercise, our heart rate will increase, blood pressure will increase. This is due to the binding of epinephrine to this epinephrine receptor. Okay, which gland is producing epinephrine? Yes, adrenal gland is producing epinephrine. We already discussed that. So, cellular response is increased heart rate, dilation of skeletal muscle blood vessel, breakdown of glycogen to glucose. So it is increasing blood pressure and increasing heart rate. Okay. So this alpranol that is used for treatment of hypertension and edema, and it is blocking beta 1 adrenergic receptor mainly present in the heart. So it is decreasing, it is blocking this epinephrine receptor, so it is decreasing heart rate and blood pressure. It is decreasing heart rate and blood pressure. It is a beta receptor blocker. Okay, so antagonist means it is an inhibitor of the receptor, but an agonist means it is not inhibiting the receptor. It is acting like the normal ligand. Agonist is acting like normal ligand. Okay, I think this is clear for you. If you like this video and find it helpful, then please click the like button, share this video with your friends, and also don't forget to subscribe this channel for getting more videos like this. Keep learning. Thank you.